never shut up.
Yo, what is up, AD team? Austin Dunham back again with another video. So, have you ever came across a calisthenics athlete and they were very strong and had amazing skills, but they didn't have a nice physique? They didn't have a lot of muscle built on them. They weren't aesthetic. You know, we've all seen it. I come across it on Instagram all the time, especially a lot of international athletes who have amazing strength, like I said, but how come it's more calisthenic athletes you see who don't have like a great muscle base to them? Well, in this video, I'm gonna try to explain to you as to why calisthenics athletes are usually bad at building muscle based on what I've seen. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So funny enough, if you look at me and my physique, nobody would ever guess that I'm capable of doing the calisthenic skills that I can do. The reason is because I've always went into calisthenics with a bodybuilder type of mentality, aka the bodyweight bodybuilder. That's why I created my program. That's why I started calling myself that, because I realized there was a difference between how calisthenics people train versus how people train who want to build a muscle. And I tried to find the medium of that while, you know, building muscle but still getting those calisthenic skills. But we're not gonna get too deep into that. Let's move on to the first point. And the first point as to why calisthenics athletes are bad at building muscle is because there is not a lot of rep-based progressive overload in their training. So I made a video called Different Styles of Bodyweight Training or Calisthenics, and you'll start to realize that there's a lot of different ways to go about it. You got freestyle training, you got static training, you got endurance rep, military New York style training, you got weighted calisthenics, you got yoga calisthenics. Like, there's a lot of different facets to it. So depending on the person and what they pick, there could not be a lot of rep-based type of muscle building, because you gotta remember how muscle is built in the first place. And it's because the muscle is simply broken down and then is built back up. So for example, if somebody's really strong in doing static training and that's all they do, like they don't do a whole bunch of rep-based type of training to where they're doing progressive overload on those reps, then they're simply not going to build muscle. Yeah, their CNS is going to get strong, their tendons, joints, everything's going to get strong. They're going to be able to do 2-finger planches. They're going to be able to do Malteses, L-sits for days, but they won't have the physique to kind of show for it. And yes, I'm being a little bit biased because, you know, they won't have the crazy aesthetic physique. Yes, to the normal person, they'll have like a nice body because you have to be lean in order to do these skills, but they're not gonna have a crazy physique. Same thing goes for these people, the people in the street workout type of competitions, people who mostly focus on freestyle calisthenics. You'll tend to realize that they don't have like the greatest bodies. And it's simply because they're training for what they want to do and what they want to get good at. So if their goal is not to, you know, do reps upon reps and add overload and change variation, then they're simply not going to build a lot of muscle. However, if you do that, on the other hand, you will build muscle. So that's a little learning point for you there. But now let's move on to number 2. Point number 2 is the dieting type of threshold and understanding and mindset with calisthenics athletes just simply isn't there. And I've learned this too over the past few years of seeing how people eat. A lot of them eat like a standard everyday person. Like, they don't approach diet and like protein intake and macronutrient intake the same way as somebody who wants to build muscle. We all know that with bodybuilding and building muscle, diet is literally probably 60 to 70% right next to your training. It's very important. You have to hit your calories and your protein intake throughout the day. However, when you're just trying to get strong in body weight and do all these different skills or whatever, then the diet part usually isn't that important, because diet is mostly for aesthetic reasons and visual reasons. It's going to dictate whether or not you lose weight, you gain weight, you build muscle, etc. And one of the biggest things I notice about athletes is that they don't hit their protein intake in the day. Now, that's something that I used to struggle with, but after a while, I've learned the crucial importance of hitting my protein intake per day, which is around 1 gram per pound of body weight. And so I started to supplement my diet with the needed supplements in order to do that. And I started using my protein right here. So my protein is actually very popular with calisthenics athletes who do take supplements. and is very, very beneficial if you find it a hard time getting your own protein intake. Now, My Protein is a sponsor of this video and my supplement sponsor, and I want to tell you guys this because I noticed a lot of calisthenics athletes don't even use supplements in general because they have this like all natural type of mindset. I only use my body and gravity, no weights, no supplements, no food, no water, all natural, bro. But guys, taking a protein supplement does not mean you're not natural. It just means you're supplementing your body for the needed nutrients it needs in order to build muscle. So if you need to build muscle and if you want to, you should probably have a protein supplement so that you can hit your goals. And I highly recommend My Protein. One, because the flavors are amazing, it tastes great, and two, it is super affordable for domestic and outside of the US too. And plus, if you use my code AustinNYP, you're gonna get an additional 45% off. Now, they don't only have supplements, but they also have different snack food that involves a lot of protein in it. And as you see what I'm wearing now, apparel. So go down below in the link in the description to check out My Protein so that you can start hitting your protein goals and building more muscle. Point number 3 is that they are scared to / they don't want to. Now let's talk about the first point. They're scared to. And the reason is going back to, there's certain goals that they're training for, freestyle, statics, wherever the case may be. A lot of them have a muscle phobia to where they feel like if they will build muscle, then it's gonna affect their skills that they're doing, especially in the bottom half of their body, their legs. That's why a lot of them skip leg day, and a lot of them actually don't want to get too big because you gotta keep in mind, calisthenics is all about relative strength, how strong you are in relation to your body weight. So literally any extra weight, especially weight that isn't muscle, is gonna be pretty detrimental to your hold times and whatever you wanna learn because everything's gonna be harder. So I feel like a lot of them purposely take their approach of not trying to build muscle, but only get stronger for that sole reason. And going from that point, they don't want to for that reason either. So it could be actually purposeful. It's not like they're trying to and they're not, because building muscle, if you think about like the steps of building muscle, is really not that hard. It's just hard to implement. So if they don't want to implement it or they're scared to, then obviously they're not going to do it. And my last point is because they started out skinny. A lot of calisthenics athletes, especially the very, very good ones, you notice they kind of had an ectomorphic base, such as myself. They have a small frame, they don't have a big appetite, they usually start off skinny, then slowly build. But as a skinny guy, as a hard gainer, if you want to seriously build, you have to, eat a lot of food, and it all comes back down to diet pretty much. So if that person never had the bodybuilding or muscle building type of diet principles to them, and they just started out calisthenics training, they're probably not going to gain that much weight or muscle in the first place. But like I said before, they will get stronger in all their calisthenics skills and whatever the case may be, while only putting on just a few pounds of muscle, whatever is pretty much needed to reach whatever they're doing. And you really don't need that much muscle in order to do a one-arm pull-up or a muscle up or a 360 muscle up, if you think about it. So that is why calisthenics athletes pretty much suck at building muscle. It's because they probably don't want to, or they can't, or a combination of all the points above. So guys, let me know down below in the comments, are you a calisthenics athlete who would rather not build muscle and stay the same size? Or are you purposely trying to build a muscle while still getting strong? I'm honestly curious. Subscribe, like the video, check out My Protein. I'm see you guys on the next one. Peace.